Hi, Chris. Welcome to From the Stage Door.
Hello, nice to see you.
Yes, you too.
How are you doing on this snowy morning?
It is. It's very snowy out there. I'm in the warm. That's all right.
Makes lockdown a little bit more bearable, doesn't it, when it's
Yeah,
like beautiful outside?
that's it. That's it. Right, we're going to kick off. First question. Have you always had a passion for theatre and performance?
No, that's the honest truth. I never wanted to be an actor. I think maybe secretly somewhere inside there was a bit of the Billy Elliot going on, and I really did want to get into some kind of performance. But no, I didn't like actory kids at school, and I didn't like the ones that did drama. I found them all a little flamboyant for my liking. But I didn't really do anything at school. I stopped going really when I was about 14, but eventually they did let us stay on in the sixth form for whatever reason. And when I got to the end of sixth form, I still had 0 qualifications apart from an A in GCSE drama. After 2 years of sixth form, that's the only qualification I had. And there was a lad in the sixth form called Soeb Khalid, who I had done 2 school plays in my sort of years that I was in my secondary school. And he sent off for an application for a drama course at Newcastle College in my name, because it would be funny when it was announced in the sixth form common room that the post had come for me. And I went to the audition because it would be funny to go to the audition, and they let me in. And that is how I became an actor.
Brilliant.
And if I met him now, I don't know whether I'd shake his hand or punch him in the face.
Yeah, definitely. What was your first ever professional theatre job?
Theatre job? Ooh, the first ever professional theatre job I did was a rehearsed reading at Live Theatre. I can remember it. It was called Halfway House, and it was written by one of my lecturers at college, so it was kind of a shoe-in for that. But the first job I ever got paid for was to do a voiceover to revoice a Sunny Delight advert when they were launching it in the UK, because they didn't think people would buy Sunny Delight. So I spent my time at a company, I can remember the name of the company, Seen and Heard in Newcastle, in a little booth. Every time the guy said Sunny Delight in the advert, I had to go Burkina Orange and change the name of it like that. And that was my first ever paid gig, yeah.
Brilliant. So who was your greatest influence growing up?
In terms of acting, the actors that I took inspiration from were all local actors, and I learned something different from all of them. We've lost one of them, unfortunately, last year, Davy Whitaker, who was in the Pitman Painters with us. Mm-hmm. I remember working with him at the Theatre Royal in Newcastle. And I remember just seeing how freely he moved around the stage, and that was the first time it kind of struck us. You can go anywhere you like, really. There aren't actually any real walls. You can do what you want. You don't have to stand still. My turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. You can wander off and have fun. So it was Davy Whitaker, rest in peace. There's a guy called Donald McBride. I mean, you probably don't know any of these actors, but these are the 3 that inspired me. Donald McBride, who was playing old men from the age of like 25 onwards. He was just a character actor. And I remember watching him and thinking, that you can do as much as you like as long as you believe it. Mm-hmm. So I took a lot from that. And a very good friend of mine, Trevor Fox, I remember seeing him in a production at Live Theatre called Your Home in the West, and his presence and his power was magnificent. And I remember watching that. And so like my entire career has basically been a bastard mix of those 3 actors' techniques. So it seems to have worked so far.
Yeah. Why not? So what was the best piece of advice you've ever received? Not necessarily acting wise, just generally.
Well, the best acting piece of advice, again, from somebody else who's dead. You might think I'm cursed. Maybe it's a jinx. There's an actor called Sammy Johnson, and well, there was, and we do a big benefit gig every 2 years in Newcastle, and it's a big deal. You know, it's on at the arena, and we do like 12,000 people in over 2 shows in the day, and it's got like Jimmy Neal in it, Denise Welch, Tim Healy, all the Geordie royalty, all in memory of Sammy Johnson, who played Stick in Spender and was in Crocodile Shoes, which I was in both series of that as well. And on the first day on set, it was my first big telly job, first regular part in anything. I sat next to him, and we were sat around this big table in this factory. That was the shot, and we're all having our lunch. And we used to call him Ronnie, but his stage name was Sammy. And he turned around to us and he said, "Young'un, whatever you do, don't eat anything." And I thought, well, that's strange advice. And then Trevor Fox, who I mentioned earlier on the very first establishing take around this table, took a hard-boiled egg and ate it in one go. And of course, every reverse and every different angle we have to do, Trevor Fox had to eat another hard-boiled egg. It was like Cool Hand Luke. And I remember looking at Sammy and going, yeah, that was good advice. I remember that forever. And that's so now I never eat on set.
Yeah, that is good advice, actually. Yeah. I like that. So when you're performing, how do you deal with nerves?
I think it's just a psychological overview. I think, physiologically, all the stuff that's happening to you is exactly the same that happens when you're really excited. So if you haven't seen a friend for like 10 years and you love them and it's great and they're arriving today and you get a bit, you get slightly short in your breath, you get your pulse goes up a little bit, you get a little bit fidgety, you can't keep still, but you're excited, so you enjoy those physical feelings. The key to getting on a stage, and I do this quite a lot when I do corporate work, teaching people how to perform and how to do presentations and stuff like that, is it's the psychological overview of it. Just you've got to convince yourself that you're excited rather than nervous. And if you're not nervous, you make mistakes. All the really bad things I've ever seen happen in plays on stage, or anything bad that's ever happened to me, has come about when you're just not nervous, when you're thinking about what you're going to have for your tea, when you're thinking about where are your digs? I can't remember what city I'm in. Do you know what it's like when you're a touring actor? I mean, I did that in Birmingham, strangely enough, talking about tangents. I was in Birmingham on tour with Bouncers. I was doing a #1 tour out of the Ambassadors of John Godper's Bouncers. And I came out of the stage door and I knew what number bus I had to get to me digs. And I knew the way to the bus stop, but I couldn't remember what city I was in. Because I'm in a different place every week. And so, but I knew where the train station was. And rather than stop someone in the street and go, what year is this? Or whatever, do you know what I mean? I just thought, well, I better go and have a look at the train station and remind myself where I am. Before the iPhone, I couldn't just, pop in maps and have a look. So I had a look, and I was in Birmingham. I mean, it's not exactly a tiny city that I could forget where I was. No. Anyway, I'm sidetracked. What was I talking about?
Nerves.
Nerves, that's right. So yeah, so basically it's just an overview. You've got to pretend you're excited, and if you don't have nerves, you make mistakes. It's quite simple. So adrenaline is your friend. It's a good thing.
Definitely. What is your favourite theatre to perform in?
It has to be my home theatre here in Newcastle, which is Live Theatre, which is it's a new writing space, and it's kind of world renowned. It's a fantastic theatre, and I've performed there since the very start. That very first rehearsed reading I was telling you about was in that space in Live Theatre, and it's on sort of two sides. So the stage is like a point, so it comes out like that, and you've got seats there, cabaret seating in the front, and a balcony at the top, and then more traditional seating behind the cabaret seating. Really low rig. It's really personal and intense and beautiful. And the kind of audience we get in there traditionally over the years have not been a traditional theatre going audience, so they tend to appreciate the work a lot. And it's done some wonderful things. It's given loads of people opportunities. I mean, I was born and bred in a council house in the East End of Newcastle, was never supposed to be an actor. I mean, you would never imagine that, but I opened a show on Broadway,
Wow.
because of Live Theatre, because Lee Hall wrote a play to open the building after it was refurbished, which was subsequently just exploded, and we ended up at the National for years with it, and then we opened on Broadway with it, which was super magic. So yeah, Live Theatre is my home theatre, and it's the one I enjoy performing in the most.
Cool. What's been your most challenging role to date?
Probably that role I was just talking to you about, actually. The play was called The Pitman Painters, and it's a Lee Hall play. It's just recently been made that into one of the top, announced as one of the top 50 most influential plays of the 20th century. It's a really wonderful piece on socialism and art and ownership of art and all that kind of stuff. And I did that for 4.5 years, and I played Oliver Kilbourne in it, and I've got a great big portrait of him up there, which somebody sent to me, which is lovely, because he was a real person. And it was 3 hours long, and I was on stage throughout the 3 hours. I never got off the stage. I just went from scene to scene to scene for 3 hours. And it sounds magic, but 4 years in, it really starts to hurt. You know, when you're playing a repressed, downtrodden, working class man trying to break his way into the arts, was far too close to home. It after a while, it burdens on you. So it's not. It wasn't a case of I found it difficult to act the part. It was a case of people don't often realize how hard it is to keep pumping out 9 epic shows a week for like 4.5 years. You know, it nearly killed us. So yeah, that's probably the most difficult part I've ever played.
Yeah, that's a long time to be on stage as well, not come off.
Yeah, and I mean, I really ended up resenting the rest of the cast who were going and playing cards for half an hour in the second half. And stuff, you know? Some of them were cracking a tinny open 20 minutes before the end because they were done for the night. I was just like, still here, still depressed, still crying, still, you know, everyone else has got the jokes, you know, but it was a wonderful part and a wonderful experience, you know, living in the middle of Manhattan on the 43rd floor. It was magic. It was really magic, but it had to end before it ended me. So I had to knock it on the head before it went to the West End, which is a shame because then I would have had what I would call the theatrical hat trick, which would have been the National Theatre, the West End and Broadway. I have done the West End, but I didn't do it with that play. I would have liked to, but I think it would have killed us.
Yeah, best not then. So what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, I would say, right, this is going to sound really weird. Be more of a dick, right? Because I've always been terrible at self-promotion. I'm not the kind of person who can network because I just feel cringy when like I'm standing having a conversation with someone and you know, and I know I don't really care about you. You don't really care about me. We're just trying to get something out of each other. I hate that. I can't work like that. However, it's a hugely important part of what you do is to get out there and make contacts and network with people. And I often wonder how things would have gone if I'd have been able to do that as a young man, but I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. Like, I mean, I'm all right at it now. You know, I'm fairly good at it now. But I think that's mainly because I'm quite honest. When I'm in a situation like that, I'm just honest. I just say, you know, I know you're not interested in me, but you know, so I would say be more of a dick, get out there, put yourself in front of people and tell them what you can do. You know, I mean, don't be a massive idiot about it, but so some people already have that inbuilt and hardwired to tell everyone in the world how mint they are. I'm not talking to those people. Those people need to pull it in a bit, really. I'm talking to people who maybe don't come from a traditional arts background, from a working class family in a working class area where they're the first artist maybe in the family. You've got to be able to stand up and tell people what you can do because they're going to assume you can't just because of the way you talk. It's simple as that. So get out there, be more of a dick.
Yeah, I find I always apologise for things for no reason. It's like, right, I'm apologising for telling you something.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah. It's odd. I always tell people as well, when you answer the phone, when somebody answers the phone, you never say it's only me. Announce that it is you. It's me. You know, don't say only me.
Yeah, I do that a lot, actually. I'm going to be really paranoid about it.
It's me. Aren't you lucky?
Yeah. What's the funniest thing that's happened to you on stage?
Oh God, this could last for months. This. There's a few things that happened which are hilarious, and a few things that happened which are not so funny. Probably the one thing that would spring straight to my mind is things that go wrong on stage. Is I was doing Close the Coal House Door on tour, and I'd injured my knee the night before because I'd pushed my kneecap down the front of my shin. On the Friday evening show, and we had matinees on the Saturday. But I didn't want to go and get it seen or anything like that. I just wanted to do my matinee and my other show, then get on the train on the Sunday morning, get home and lick my wounds for a couple of days. But that was foolish because I had to climb up some scaffolding in the plane, and halfway up the scaffolding, I just went the wrong way on it, and the pain was, I can't even describe to you. Like I broke it out into an instant sweat. I thought I was going to vomit. And I tried to climb back down the scaffolding and didn't quite make it before I fell off and passed out a bit. And you just pass out, don't you? I passed out and And then obviously Sam West was directing it, and he was luckily in the audience that afternoon, so he took over. But I ended up in hospital. But the funny thing about that was, I started getting texts from people saying, "Do you know you're on the news?" Right? I was like, "Oh no!" The one thing you don't want is that, you know what I mean? Something bad to honesty to be on the news. But it was all over the news. And then somebody sent me a picture of the English-speaking newspaper in Moscow, and it was on the front page. But
Wow.
by this point, the story had been so blown out of proportion. I mean, it was as if I'd dived from 80 foot up into a pit of crocodiles and fought them all off single-handedly before succumbing to an injury and dying. You know, it was crazy. So that was a bizarre and bonkers thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good one though. I mean, it's one for the book, you know.
It is, but you know, I only feel comfortable about it now, sort of 10 years later. I mean, for years I was like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about that. No, nothing but embarrassment."
What would be your dream role or show to do?
I've done it. I've already done it, and I get asked this question. And strangely enough, the guy who wrote the show I was interviewing us for his book not long ago, literally last week. So when I was on Broadway, this was a question I used to get a lot, because we used to have to do a lot of press. Have I mentioned Broadway? I don't know if I mentioned it.
I don't think you did. No.
I lived in Manhattan on the 43rd. No, yeah, well, I did. So when I was on Broadway, I used to get asked that question quite a lot, and they always used to look really confused when I used to tell them, "Well, I've already done it." It was playing the part of Alan Shearer in a in a play in Newcastle, and you could see them always going, "Alan Shearer, get the phone out, Alan Shearer," because I think they would, and everybody normally I would expect some kind of response, like a classic or something from one of the great tragedies or something like that. But no, a friend of mine wrote a play about the disastrous season at Newcastle United when we got relegated, when Alan Shearer was briefly the boss, and I got to play the part of Alan Shearer. And you know, we get into acting so we can pretend we're something we're not, and we can experience somebody else's life. That's the truth. It's not because we're artists, right? Let's be honest. We're just like pretending we're something else. Good fun to crack on like you're not you. And for a couple of weeks, every night, I felt a little bit what it was like to be Alan Shearer, because we didn't have a theatre audience coming in. They were Newcastle fans that were coming to see the show in live theatre, as I was talking about their audiences. And I had to stamp all over the audience all the time, because I would just walk on and I'd studied the way he put his hand in his pockets, the way he held his phone and his face and that. So they knew who I was immediately. And of course, he's the biggest hero in Newcastle. And so they would just erupt into chants of Shearer, Shearer. And on the first night, I mean, I let that go on for nearly a minute, which is, you know yourself, is outrageously indulgent on a stage. Awful. And I should be shot for that. But I let them crack on with that for a minute. And I thought, I need to put an end to this and get on with the play. So yeah, and I met Alan Shearer and talked to him about that not long after it as well. How I enjoyed the experience of being him just for 5 minutes. So yeah, that for me was the big moment, and summed up everything that we do, why we do it. The reason we do this is so we can get out there and have those moments where we can just be anything we want, you know.
That is cool though. I do like that one. Have you ever done a job that you've left off your CV because it was really bad?
Yeah. Haven't we all? That's the way you build your CV though, isn't it? They start off here, and as you do more jobs, they drop further and further down. And they drop off the end, and then you never see them again until you're going for a casting for that organisation again, in which case it tends to just pop back up your CV to where it was earlier on. But yeah, there's plenty of those. Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, I'm a jobbing actor. The stuff I do now, I go, you still got to give it your 100%. You've got to do everything you can. But yeah, there's loads of jobs which have fallen off the CV.
What's been your most surreal moment when performing?
When performing, surreal moment when performing. I don't know. I think they're all kind of surreal. I mean, I often find myself, you know, when you're well into a run and you know something inside out, and as an actor, you can pick moments to have a break on stage. You know, you can pick moments when you can just go, right, I just need to be crisp for a second so I can just drop my shoulders a bit and make sure that my back's all right. Yeah, but the face is fine because I'm not actually involved in this. And sometimes in those moments, it suddenly strikes you, what a fucking ridiculous job this is.
Yeah.
Sometimes in those moments, you just go, what the hell do I do for a living? I'm a man, 48 years old, and I stand in front of people and pretend I'm somebody else for money. And then that moment passes and you're all right. But for me, yeah, most shows are surreal. It's
Yeah.
kind of a dawn of realization at some point that what you do for a living is outrageously ridiculous.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
But we still do it.
Yeah, I know. But it's crazy.
As long as somebody wants to pay us, we'll keep doing it.
Definitely. I'll do it,
Definitely. Are there any props or costumes that you've kept from shows or projects? That's a yes.
Well, this will be the one that would just spring to mind, and that's just from this Christmas, because I did Scrooge in here this Christmas, and we did it. We recorded it online, and it was really good. I set a little studio up in here. We had the background and everything, full costume, special effects, and all that added later on. So here's my I was playing the part of Ebenezer. So yes, these just happen to be at hand. These, and they'll go off into a cupboard somewhere. And then the next time somebody says, "Do you want to pretend to be someone you're not on the internet?" I'll drag them out the cupboard and we'll use them. So yeah. I mean, obviously, like most performers, every cupboard you look in, you'll find something that, I'll see it, I've stolen from a show. It's what we do, isn't it? We collect things. We're little squirrels.
Definitely. Have to have mementos, I think.
Definitely. When you're in the nursing home, rocking backwards and forwards, those are the things they'll show you, and that'll be the internet meme of you seeing your costume and suddenly coming back to life.
Yeah, definitely. Who would you most like to work with in the industry that you haven't already?
All right. You know what?
Anyone.
This is going to sound a little bit egotistical, but I've never had a kind of a hero thing about anyone, apart from maybe Alan Shearer. And so I've never actually sat down and thought, do you know Tom Hanks? Tom Hanks, what a wonderful actor Tom Hanks is. I wouldn't mind working with Tom Hanks because he seems like he's a canny bloke. But for me, it's more what I dream about is the kind of job, like, I mean, I would have loved to be in Vikings. I don't know if you've seen it on, it's on Amazon.
Yeah.
Brilliant, because that's exactly why let's get swords and pretend we're Vikings. Oh man, that's what I dream about. That kind of thing, rather than an individual person, But I like working with my friends. I like working with people I've worked with for 30 plus years and trust. And and the one thing in the lockdowns that we've really missed is that when you go and sit in a rehearsal room, it's not like any other job. It's not like normal jobs. You go and sit in a rehearsal room, you're suddenly incredibly free. You can say whatever you like, really. You can behave in ways you just can't behave in the real world. You can go into a meeting and go, oh, fucking, and no one's going to go, oh, I'm terribly sorry, I don't think you should swear. It doesn't happen. And it's nice to have that relaxation. So much so that just before Christmas, I bumped into two really good friends, James Headley and Brian Lonsdale, who I've worked with a lot. Bumped into them when I was doing my Christmas shopping, and we talked for an hour. Just stood in the street, three blokes just talking for an hour. And so on the back of that, we set up the Resting Thesps Poker Club. And so every Sunday night, 10 or 11 of us all create a private game on Poker Stars and then Zoom each other and just enjoy taking each other's money off each other and having a bit of crack every Saturday night. So yeah, my ambition is to keep working with the people that I love and I have worked with for ages, because I miss them.
Yeah. That's nice. I like that. Cool. Right. Quick fire round to finish off.
Oh, here we go.
Ready?
Yeah.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Sun or rain?
Oh, both. I can't pick on that one. I just love weather and outside. I just love it.
Cool. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Musical or play?
Play. Very just
Comedy or tragedy?
Comedy.
Sweet or savoury?
Savoury.
Meat or veg?
Meat.
Hugs or kisses?
Hugs.
Night out or night in?
Night in.
Tour or West End run?
Depends on the digs, though, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah.
If you've got naff digs, then the West End run will be a nightmare.
True.
I'm going to say West End run, though, just because I'm too old to go from city to city now. I've had enough.
Because you don't know where you are.
I could end up not know where I am when I come out of the theatre.
Favorite film?
Ooh, gosh. Deliverance. But it's not, because there are others.
It's the one you could
There are others, but it's up there at the top. It's up there.
That'll do.
12 Angry Men.
Favorite book?
Enid Blyton's The Faraway Tree, from when I was young.
Bless.
I don't read a lot of fiction.
Ultimate comfort food?
Mexican. I like hot stuff and I like making it. But I suppose if it was on a cold and chilly day, I would maybe go with a beef casserole.
Nice. Chris, thank you. It's been amazing talking to you.
No, it's been great. Thank you very much.
Lovely catch up and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, hope to see you soon as well.
Take care.
Bye.